So with the snow falling, this storm we're going to probably get enough snow that I can bust out the old snowshoes. Now we talked about getting them up and ready with some varnish so they're good to go, but next we need to talk about using some type of binding. Now I originally got a leather binding that had a link on the back, a snap link that was made of plastic. And I'll be honest, I just never really felt that those bindings did justice for these snowshoes. They're a traditional snowshoe, they needed traditional binding. I was also very unhappy with how those leather bindings attached to the snowshoe itself. It just never seemed right. So I talked to one of my friends, Brian Manning, and he showed me how to actually use Lamp Wick to put a binding on. It looks much better, and I'll be honest, the little bit that I played with it right here on just the one snowshoe, way far superior in my mind, and that it makes the snowshoe so much easier to use. I just think it's better, it feels better on my foot, so I'm going to show you how you actually tie the binding for a snowshoe. First thing we're going to need is some 1-inch cotton lamp wick, and this I just bought offline. It was super cheap. I got a huge roll of it for $13, so it's not expensive at all, and this is good multi-purpose stuff. First thing we want to do is set our snowshoe down and place our shoe on that snowshoe. Now, I will say this before everybody asks, you really should be wearing some type of moccasin or muckluck with these snowshoes. I'm in the process of getting some, so just so everybody knows, it just saves on your snowshoe over time. Okay, what we're looking at is we're going to find that hinge point, I like to call it, and take our webbing, center that off, and lay it on our foot. Now, what I'm looking for is where I can stick the lashing, the webbing, through the snowshoe. So I found the two spots. I'm going to take one end, I'm going to go underneath the snowshoe like this, pull it through, find the other side right here, go through, and you see how I'm coming through this center point then. Okay. Now what I like to do is pull that down. And this is the same as working with cordage. You want everything dressed up really nice so nothing is twisted and messed up. I center that off. Again, find that pivot point and pull some tightness on there. Now I'm going to wiggle my foot out. I'm going to take one side and I'm going to begin to just wrap that around. Some tension, you don't have to kill how tight this is, but you could see I'm wrapping it semi-tight, working my way up to about the center of my foot. So I'm going to say maybe one more wrap. Let's see, stick your foot, yep. So one more wrap should be about exactly where we want that at. And we're going to let that go. Slide my foot back in, pull some tension to that, make sure I'm at the right pivot point, pull my foot out, and begin to wrap this one. So you can see this is a simple process. There's nothing that should be difficult about this. One more here. We have both up the center. At this point I could slide my foot in. It should be a little bit tight because of course that's going to loosen up as you use it. We're just going to take these straps now, come to the back, and tie a very simple square knot. And now we have a binding on our snowshoe for miles of travel. The other cool thing about these bindings is that they are hands-free on and off. All we need to do is back our toe out and we can pull our foot out very simply. So to put these back on, I do use my hand for this. I'm not good enough yet to do without my hand. I just stick my foot in that way and I'm back in. All right? So very easy, very simple to get these bindings on. So that is the simplicity of using Lamp Wick to tie snowshoe bindings. And then of course you can always take them off if you need to dry them out. You're going to have to make some fine adjustments as that Lamp Wick stretches and tightens down, but that's not a problem at all. This is definitely the way to go if you have traditional snowshoes. So this was Dan Woolak with Coalcracker Bushcraft. Again, I thank my buddy Brian Manning for helping me out and teaching me how to do this. And as always, check us out over coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods, guys. Because I'm off snowshoeing.